Welcome everyone to the ocean, and this is obviously, as you can see, World of Warships, and I've decided to just... Fuck you, Japanese announcer guy. Yeah, I've decided to just record my ranked games. As you can see, this is ranked in World of Warships, and in case you don't know what World of Warships is, it is a game where you essentially captain a World War II ship, and you essentially lead it in a battle against other players. And right now, as you can see, I am the Ryujo, a Japanese aircraft carrier, and my allies are all over here, and these are the enemies. This is a ranked game, which means that essentially we are supposedly being matched against the people who are at about a similar skill level as we are. Right now, I'm not sure why it doesn't show the ranks over here. It usually does, but I guess it doesn't. I am rank 19. It's my default starting rank this season, because I played a couple of ranked games the last season, and I just wanted to, I don't know, just play them, because I did not play very much ranked in World of Warships so far, so I do want to actually they're telling me to follow them. CV essentially means aircraft carrier. It is the sort of abbreviation. I'm not sure how you'd say it. And as you can see, the aircraft carrier gameplay is kind of attractive to me because it's essentially an RTS, and this is why I am mostly playing aircraft carrier in World of Warships. I do play other types of ships, but I'm pretty bad at them. Well, I'm okay at battleships, I guess, but battleships are really easy to play. And anyhow, I don't own any tier 6 battleships, which is where you start off as in terms of the ranked games. In case you have never played World of Warships, in the ranked system, you have about 25 ranks, something like that. Actually, this guy already lost one of his fighters. As you can see, all these little markers on his unit means that those are essentially the number of planes in the unit. So that means that I can attack them with my 4 guys over here against this 3 fairly safely. And here he comes with more of his stuff. He's trying to essentially just busy up my fighters until his own planes can make a bombing run on my own allies. Which is going to work, to be honest, because I don't think I can do anything about it. At least not now. In the meantime, I am going to take the opportunity to strike the enemy, though. This is kind of annoying, because this Nuremberg over here, this cruiser, has used his anti-air ability. This is essentially panicking my fighters. As you can see, my bombers have a very wide dropping arc, and they've essentially missed a lot because this cruiser used an ability that is essentially panicking my aircraft. And that's the reason why all my planes missed, and I was not able to take him out in one strike. But I was able to do a lot of damage, so at least my team will be able to finish him off fairly easily, because he's only got, as you can see, 2,000 hit points, and now that he's spotted from my aircraft, yep, he's a pretty easy kill for my friends. He's going to be almost dead, and the main role for aircraft carriers in World of Warships ranked, I feel like, is just to support your own team, really, which is also why I really like playing aircraft carrier, because you're not really like the person that the team relies on to do the most damage. Although you can be that person, you are not really the go-to guy for that. Those would be the battleships. Or the destroyers, in case you have a really good destroyer player, but destroyers are also a kind of a class that's mostly meant to be supportive class. There are 4 ship classes in the game. Well, actually 5, but... Well, wait. Okay, so there's aircraft carriers, which is I'm playing. Cruisers, which is like this Cleveland. They're good at just being jacks of all trades, especially really good at providing anti-aircraft support, which is not good because there's a lot of cruisers on the enemy team, and I'm an aircraft carrier, so that's obviously really bad for me. And I'm going to use that as an excuse if I do really badly, so just be very prepared for that. And obviously, that's what the cruisers are good for, but their main problem is that, obviously, jack of all trades and master of none, so they aren't really going to be standing up to battleships in a gunnery duel. They aren't really going to be as fast or as sneaky as destroyers, and so just not being as useful to the team as a whole. Then there are destroyers, which are really small ships that right now we there aren't any, which is very weird because they're a pretty popular class of ships because they're very small, very fast, very agile. Unlike most ships in this game, which are pretty slow and lumbering, it's, I believe, a complaint that a lot of people have with this game is just the fact that it's slow to play. And then, obviously, battleships, who are like this Bayern over here, the big guys who have a lot of really, really powerful guns. And they're obviously pretty favorite because, well, they go boom, and they do a lot of damage. And actually, right now, I will not try to engage this Nuremberg down here, because that would be pretty counterproductive. My torpedo bombers would be much better used against this Fuso over here. The Fuso is a battleship, and it's a Japanese tier 6. Whereas this Nuremberg is a German cruiser. So obviously the German cruiser will have a little bit of a superior AA platform to this kind of mediocre battleship, because the Fuso is a pretty good battleship in terms of guns. It's got some very, very good guns in terms of number. It's got like 12 of them. So it can do a lot of damage against enemy battleships, especially at closer ranges. But it is really, really under-equipped when it comes to anti-aircraft, so it is pretty easy for me to just come in and target it. As you can see, there's not much that he can do because he reached himself, so he also made himself a pretty decent target for me. And as you can see, this is my aiming reticule. I will hit a pretty decent amount of my torpedoes onto him, and that will kill him. Because that was a 6 torpedo hit on the enemy, and that was obviously not what he was looking for. And there's a lot of enemy aircraft as well coming in. Hopefully they will drop on my ally and not on me, because right now I'm pretty defenseless. Being alone, it means that over here I'm alone, as you can see from my team. That means essentially that I cannot get any support when the enemy attack me, which is a problem because aircraft carriers, their main drawback, they can attack all over the map with their planes, but their main drawback is just they are very vulnerable by themselves. So if I don't get back to my team soon enough, then that will be pretty bad for me. So right now I've managed to get a strike on the Bayern, and he has managed to use his repair kit. One other important part about using aircraft is the fact that there are 2 types of attack aircraft. There's, well, obviously the defensive type of aircraft, which are the fighters over here, that are used to shoot down enemy planes and panic them. So essentially used to defend your allies from enemy aircraft carriers. And then there's the offensive types of planes, which are the torpedo bombers and the dive bombers. Torpedo bombers being much more effective in terms of raw damage output, and they cause flooding against the enemy. Flooding is good because it's a long-lasting effect on enemy ships. It is essentially, it lasts about a minute and a half, and for a minute and a half they take very constant but not exactly intense damage. So it is a pretty decent tool to make enemy ships die if they do not have the repair party, which is a consumable type ability that normally, instead of having aircraft, ships would have abilities and ammunition shown down here. So one of the abilities that pretty much every ship has is the repair party consumable, which essentially it instantly sort of removes all debuffs. So if a ship is on fire, it will remove that. If a ship is flooding, it will remove that. If a ship has a damaged rudder, for example, it will remove that. So what you want to do as an aircraft carrier player is to cause some kind of damage to the enemy ships, some kind of debuff. For example, if I use my dive bombers have the ability to set people on fire, because obviously bombs hitting the flat deck of a ship has a really good chance of causing a fire. So what you want to do with dive bombers is you want to come in and set the enemy ship on fire and wait until they use their repair party consumable. And then once they use it, you can swoop in with, for example, your torpedo bombers or another dive bomber squadron to reapply the debuff on them. So that is your most basic carrier tactic that I was not really able to use very well this battle, but that is essentially going to be your main way of dealing a lot of damage to enemy ships. So I can see already right now that the enemy bombers, only the enemy aircraft carriers left, okay? So the enemy bombers were coming in from this direction, so most likely the enemy aircraft carrier is somewhere around here. And I want to attack it Of course, right now there is pretty much zero chance that that enemy aircraft carrier is going to be able to win the game by himself, because he's only got, well, he's only got himself to work with against the entire team of mine, so he does not really have much of a chance. But if we can speed up his demise with some damage of my own, that will be pretty good, because obviously that will give me some experience. In case you know already all about World of Warships and was bored to hell by this video and want to know a little bit more about something in depth, my ship is basically not ready to go into ranked, because it's not... Wow, okay, so what just happened there is my planes dropped torpedoes against the enemy Ryujo, okay? And what happened was they dropped planes, and there is a 500 meter minimum range for torpedo bombers. Essentially, if they drop torpedoes and they run into an enemy before they have traversed 500 meters in water, they will not explode. They will not detonate. And that's what happened over here. I was about to deal probably about 20,000 damage to that Ryujo, but unfortunately, I kind of fucked up my drop, and yeah. Okay, so talking about my ship, ships in this game can be upgraded, and so one main important thing to do before you head into battle is make sure that your ship is not stock. Stock means that it is essentially completely unupgraded, and my ship is basically stock. It's got the first hull, it's got the first module, the plane module, which is essentially what allows me to have the loadout of 1 fighter, 2 torpedo bombers, and 2 dive bombers. But obviously, that is a sort of standard thing that you always want to have your good loadout, because the standard loadout has less planes available to it than this one. And then the first hull increases my plane reserve. As you can see over here, there are some numbers, and, well, there he goes. Those numbers essentially mean my planes left in the hangar. And when I run out of planes, I cannot attack, which is essentially how carriers are balanced. So as you can see, I've won the game, and it's given me a star. Haha, Ju, star, gold, whatever. So essentially, it's also given me some flags, which is okay. Essentially, this is the way you progress through the rank system. You gain stars, and once you gain all the stars, you progress to the next rank. So once I gain both stars, I will get rank 19, or sorry, 18. And so that's how you continue to advance in the ranks. And I'll just record some more World of Warships rank, because I think it's gonna be fun.